No, thank you so much for that intro. Every time, you talk about me, I'm like, wait, let me get out of the room so that person can come up. I don't know. I feel so humbled to be here, and I feel so grateful to be speaking to each and every one of you. I always feel at home in a room filled with talented, overachieving women. That's who's here, right? That's who's here. Okay, just checking. Because of that fact, you'll probably relate to this problem. I mean, what do you do when you're confused about your calling because you're kind of good at everything? Right? Like, also super humble. Oh, I hope you all can relate to this next thing. One of my favorite movies is the movie Sister Act. Anyone? Okay, I think this is one of the best movies in the world, okay? I love this movie. And if you don't know it, it's starring Whoopi Goldberg. And Whoopi Goldberg's character witnesses her boyfriend commit murder, and so she goes into witness protection in a convent. When she gets there, she meets this nun, Sister Mary Clarence. Now, Sister Mary Clarence is mousy, she's soft-spoken, she doesn't take up a lot of space in the room. And one of my favorite scenes in the movie is in a private moment between the two of them, where Sister Mary Clarence confesses something pretty deep. She says, I've always known that I've been called to a life of service. But I've always felt that there's something inside of me that I want to give that's only me and no one else. See, I think that all of us talented overachievers in the room, I think we would actually trade all of that talent, all that skill, all of our drive. I think we would trade all of that for the peace of mind of knowing that we're doing what we're meant to be doing, right? I love that. I love the call and response that's happening in the room. You can do that. That's fine. I love that. That's a bit of my journey, and that's kind of what I'm going to talk about today. When I was 2, my mom put me in dance class. Not because I was a prodigy. Okay, let's just clear that up. She put me in dance class because she wanted me to love the arts and because she's a good mom. And, at 2, obviously I had no idea how to catch hold of a dream. But as I grew up, I started to think, this is how you get a dream, right? Your mom or your dad puts you in like a class, puts you in dance or soccer or computer coding. I don't know what they do. And that's your dream. You're done. That's all. That's it. And I was good. I was good at dance, and I worked really hard. And then at the age of 11, my mom, in a stroke of, I would say, good parenting, although I didn't feel that way at the time, she saw some things in my character that she didn't like, and she actually pulled me out of dance. That thing that was becoming my identity, my dream, was gone. At 13, I had my first chance to audition for like a grown-up musical. Now, being a girl and growing up on Disney, this was a big deal. It was a big deal. I went to the audition. I actually got a call back. It was very exciting. And the thing was, the call back, it conflicted with a soccer tournament that I was in. And my dad is such an optimist. He thought that we could make to both. Yeah. I showed up late for the callback. I missed the pre-rehearsal. I didn't make the musical. Both of these were lasting blows, and I still didn't know how to find a dream. So I developed a new philosophy. Okay, maybe finding a dream isn't what your parents put you in, when you were a kid. Maybe finding a dream is, something that somebody else tells you that you're good at, right? And I did this with school all the time. Somebody told me, "Oh, I think I could see you as a lawyer," right? And then I found out it takes a long time to become a lawyer. And then I got to college, and I was really interested in Asian culture. My boyfriend at the time was Japanese. Diplomacy sounded sexy. So I thought, oh, I know, I'll double major in Japanese and diplomacy and world affairs. And then I found out that's real hard. I don't know if you know this. It's real hard. So then I was like, okay, I know what I'll do. I'll take some classes that I think I'm kind of interested in, and then if at the end of that class, one of the teachers says, "Hey, you're kind of good at this," I'll do that. Okay. And that's exactly what I did. I took a sociology class. At the end of the class, the teacher said, "Hey, you're kind of good at this. I think you should do this." And that's how I picked my major. Let me tell you something. If you are a talented overachiever, this is a bad plan. We are really good at impressing teachers, coworkers, peers. We're really good at making first impressions. This is a bad plan. The reason it's a bad plan is because that means that our dreams will always only ever be an amalgamation of things that other people said based off of limited data about us. And I think that our souls crave more than that. I think there's something inside of us that wants more. In the movie, Sister Mary Roberts moves closer to this in choir rehearsal. She's in the choir, and she's singing, and she can barely be heard. So Whoopi's character draws her to the front. She tells her to close her eyes. Imagine she's in a noisy room, and her voice has to carry all the way to the back. And then she tells her to sing again, and then she places her hand on her stomach. And she starts shaking. And as she's shaking it, it's as if she's shaking out all of the fears, all of the second guessing, all of the thoughts of, maybe I'm supposed to do something less frivolous. Maybe singing isn't it. Maybe I'm supposed to keep doing what I've seen other people doing. For me, this shaking happened when I returned to dance in my 20s. After years of feeling like a victim, feeling like my dream had been stolen from me, I thought, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna reclaim that dream. So I went to dance, I went full out. I was taking classes all over town. I was choreographing pieces. At one point, I danced in front of 20,000 people. It was awesome, it was fun. But I had all these questions when I wasn't dancing, Shouldn't I be dancing more? Shouldn't I be doing more? Shouldn't I be networking more? That's fine. Those questions are fine. They're normal. But then there was this other question that kind of scared me. Shouldn't I want this more? After doing it for about a year or a year and a half, I realized I actually don't want this very much. So then I decided, all right, that failed audition at 13, let's tackle theater. So I went back into theater, and it was very fun. I quit my job. I got all the stereotypical side jobs that you're supposed to have to stay afloat. And I even got accepted into a Shakespeare internship. It was very, very fun. But after the internship ended, and I was supposed to go out and get real acting jobs, those same questions came up, along with the scary one, shouldn't I want this more? Thing is, going back to dance and the theater, it shook out all of my lame motivations. It shook out all of my fears of regret. It shook out even the false idea that these were my dreams, as opposed to just things that were handed to me by other people or my life circumstances. These dreams are fine, they're nice, but they were human-sized. And I felt like the dreams inside of me were the size of a universe. Universe-sized dreams, they start as a seed. And the seed often gets covered up by a lot of junk, And it's our job to figure out, how do we learn to tell the difference between the junk and the seed? My journey into comedy started as a seed. No one saw it coming, not even me. Nobody ever saw me telling a joke and said, hey, I think you should try stand-up comedy. That never happened to me. No one saw it, It was this very subtle thing. And inside of me, the seed was jumping up and down saying, hey, stop waiting for someone else to tell you you're good at it. They don't know who you are. When Maya Angelou passed away, there was this video that was circulating YouTube of her and Dave Chappelle interviewing each other about their creative process. Dave Chappelle is one of my favorite comedians. He's great. And one of the things that Dave Chappelle said in the interview caught my attention. He said, I just can't create in a void of people. Like, if there's not people around, I can't create. It's not that profound. It's pretty common for some artists. It's not that profound. What happened inside of me was, when I heard him say that, something inside me started to leap. Something inside of me, I think that seed, was saying to me, pay attention. Pay attention to this. You know now how to distinguish between the junk and the seed. You need to try stand-up comedy. I was devastated. I was devastated, you guys. I cried for a month. This was not good news. Oh my God, no. This was horrible news. I mean, stand-up comedy, really? That's what's in me after all these years? Really? Maybe you mean comedic acting. With a script, where the jokes have been tested? Really? I cried for a month. I cried because the person that I had always known myself to be, it didn't match with this discovery. The weird thing was, as incongruent as this discovery seemed on the surface, I knew it was accurate. I knew it was right. So I cried for a month. I cried, and then I took one small step towards it. And when I did, it was as if the ground beneath me began to come alive. One of my favorite authors, Paulo Coelho, he says in his book, The Alchemist, that when a person gets nearer to their personal legend, the entire universe conspires to help them achieve it. And that's what started to happen to me. As I keep doing comedy, it keeps feeling different than those other dreams. You know, I have some of the questions that I had before, but not the should I want this more question. I want it. It's weird, because sometimes comedy makes me so angry. But I keep wanting it. It feels different. And I was surprised to find out I love writing. I love when I get on stage, it's my words. I love that I get to say things about things in society that people aren't paying attention to. I love that when I'm on stage, it's only me and no one else. Another thing that happened after I started doing comedy is I realized I didn't want to just ask for opportunities, I wanted to create them. I knew that was another seed. And I wanted to create not just any show, I wanted to create a show for people, for audiences that felt like comedy scene's not really for me. So we created this show called Treat Yourself. It was a show for women, by women. Thank you. We had women behind the scenes, we had women on stage, we had women in the audience. It was just like Women Ignite. It was awesome. What was so cool was that I had an audience member say to me, you know, that is the first time that I've ever been to a comedy show and felt like our stories as women mattered. I had a comedian come up to me and say, that was the most fun I've had in comedy in a long time. Thank you for reminding me of why I started doing this in the first place. What if I had let fear stop me from that amount of joy? I think that we are built for universe-sized dreams. And I wonder what kind of shaking needs to happen to help us be able to recognize the seed from the junk. I'll leave you with this story. In my 20s, I was working at a dance studio, not as a dance teacher, in the office. And I got invited to take an advanced dance class, just the warm-up, which is pretty strenuous. And I remember this feeling of shame, you know, the thought that crossed my mind of, I used to be a dancer. And I got in this class, and I remember being a kid and being able to stand at a bar and lift my leg high in the air. And now I'm 29, and my foot is 2 inches off the ground. And looking around the room at all the other high, straight legs in the air, and I'm thinking, I should just leave. I'll just see myself out. But then this other voice came behind mine, and it said, no, you stay in this class, because it takes more courage for you to stay in this class than it takes talent for them to do what they're doing. And courage lasts longer than talent. So you stay in this class and build courage. Thank you.